Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sam Lee. I'm English. I'm Chinese. I've lived in China for 10 years and in England for the last 2.5. I belong to both. Today, I want to take you on a journey, my journey. I want to share with you my own comparisons of my own experience of different elements of my identity as both an English boy and a Chinese boy. Sport. I love it. In China, the focus is very much on individual skill and repetitive training. Olympic success is practically guaranteed for gymnastics, diving and badminton. I learned table tennis for a bit. But team sports are difficult because awareness isn't prioritised in sport. The Chinese rugby team is an embarrassment. The second most populous country is ranked at 93 by FIFA, and that's a generous rating. But my first love is football, though. My dad grew up in Croydon and cultured me from birth into that tiny minority of the world, Crystal Palace fandom. As it happens, the first two professional Chinese players to play in the UK were Palace players, Fan Zhiyi and Sun Xihan. So maybe Palace was always my destiny. In terms of tech, China seems way ahead today. I don't need keys to get in my home, thumbprints only. However, I want to look at the inventions that are part of the nation's identity and heritage. What could be more British than the steam engine? The Hogwarts Express has helped us fall in love with it again. Stainless steel and Portland cement have changed buildings. But I think my favourite British invention is the toothbrush. If I'm going to eat Pav's great puddings, then I'm going to need help looking after my pearly whites. China has what it calls the 4 great inventions: paper, printing press, the compass, and gunpowder. These are pretty big inventions, life-changing, globe-changing. Where would Guy Fawkes be without gunpowder? Well, actually, he'd probably have lived a long, happy life. But the story of China and England are intermixed again. In China, the biggest festival is the Spring Festival that ushers in the Chinese New Year. Big family feasts, gifts of money to children from relatives, and bright lights, loud firecrackers, and the taste of spice. The story that supports this tradition is that the noise, light, and use of red is to scare away a monster called Nian. It is obvious, utter nonsense. Nobody believes in the monster. No one has ever believed in the monsters. But it is still fun to celebrate it. In England, the biggest festival is Christmas. We have our own lights, cracker bangs and feasting. The story of Santa is obvious, utter nonsense. Sorry, kids. But Christmas has a bigger story, a better story, a true hope story. The Saviour Jesus entering the world. That is why, even in China, Christmas has always been my favourite festival. Interestingly, Chinese Christians have added their own tradition to Christmas. The word for peace has the same pronunciation as apple, and so Chinese Christians give apples as presents. So maybe apples replace our stocking gift-giving method. No, I don't think so either. The last thing I would like to share with you about my journey from east to west is education. The strength of China is that everyone believes in the importance of education and is fully committed to it. The weakness of China is that everyone is fully committed to it. I remember my older brother, as a 10-year-old, getting hours of prep every day. I remember his PE lessons being cancelled so that he could learn more Chinese characters. I remember his playtimes being cancelled at lunchtime so that he could learn more. Thankfully, my parents moved us into an international school before I went through that. I am no way impartial in this, but I prefer the less prep that we have here. And if Mr. Last, you decide to reduce it further, I will not be complaining. I like the fact that P is valued here, and drama, and music. I think that it's important, though, that as I move from a highly pressurised, test-based China to a more holistic approach to studying, that I do not stop believing in the importance of education that China is committed to. You see, I am Chinese, I am English, in every area of my life: sport, technology, festivals, education, and many more areas areas that I don't have time to share with you today. Maybe I'll do a part 2 next year. In all of these areas, I find that the things that are Chinese and the things that are British magnify and support each other. And I'd like to think that I have quite literally had the best of both worlds. Thank you for listening.